Can I pack your lunch?
You are ridiculous. What's going on, nation? Never again. I have to start every stream out now by saying, "Never mind what my wife just said," into my mic as she walked by. She's really a a mic bomber. She's like the unimic bomber. What's going on, nation? Rock Var here, broadcasting live on Var Nation. Want to say hello to everybody and thank you guys again. The last stream maybe got out of hand, I don't know, but I had a good time and was not feeling too bad the next day, so everything worked out good. Want to thank you guys who were a part of the 300 party, and when I got off the stream, I noticed that we had actually gained 7 subs on top of that, so we were sitting at 307, which is really awesome. We appreciate it, and we hope to keep the ball rolling and keep growing and keep trying to produce better content and just keep you guys entertained the best that we can. So that said, big news today in DC Universe Online. Actually, I was just going to come on tonight and do the usual kind of stream and play some content and do what we do. And I have a little bit of a pre-stream ritual. And as I was going through Twitter during my pre-stream ritual, I noticed that there was actually, I saw it on Facebook. I noticed that there was an announcement, another producer's letter, talking about the state of the stat revamp. It's a nice long letter with lots of scary stuff in it. And so lots of reactions already online. A lot of people losing their minds. A lot of people threatening to leave the game and blah, 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 blah. So I read it. I took my time. I read through it. And actually, we're about a half hour later than I was planning on streaming just because I took my time and read through it. I also took my time and went to DCUO's Twitter feed and saw some of the responses that they were giving to the people asking questions and some of those that are losing their minds. And hopefully I can clarify some stuff. But the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to walk through it. We're just going to read the entire thing and comment as we go, talk about what they've got up there, what their plans are, with some changes that are coming to the stat revamp, some really super cool changes that it looks like are coming to the way we spend our skill points again. And we'll get into some opinions here and talk a little bit about what's going to happen with the game. And then once all that is done, if we have any time left over, we'll do some playing. So here we are, the set of DC Universe, or DCU Tonight. Haven't done my own show in so long that I forgot the name of it. And I thought it would be fitting to kind of hang out here in the studio and talk about some of this stuff almost as though it is DCU Tonight, which it kind of is at this point. So welcome to DCUO Tonight. Oh, goodness. All right, let me get to my phone here so that we've got some stuff. And I'll just go through. Anybody that joins the stream later will be able to see this up on the channel, as it always is. But I don't want to make those who will just be clicking on this based on the title once it's up on YouTube. I don't want to make them wait a half hour to get to the juicy stuff. That said, I've got another video coming on specific changes to power sets. That will be up tomorrow morning, and it will be let's see, what were we talking about this time? It looks like Fire and Gadgets will be the next 2 power sets that we tackle and go through the changes that came in the stat update. So this is the producer's letter titled State of the Stat Revamp. Stats Revamp. I always forget the S in stats. This was put up today. It was actually put up at 11 a.m., so apparently I didn't pay a bit of attention to the forums. It says, "Hello again, everyone. The stats revamp is live, and we are incredibly thrilled with the response thus far. Change is never easy. However, with it comes a new foundation for DCUO that puts it in a good place for the future. Recently, we also announced the upcoming launch of the Water Power set and our next 2 episodes, Riddled with Crime and Earth 3 at San Diego Comic-Con. And we hope to have more updates very, very soon on all these efforts and others. We cannot wait to show you everything we've been working on. That said, as expected, We're getting tons, they capitalize tons, of feedback now that we're live. We've been reviewing this feedback carefully. One thing that I stressed to the team, and that I did not want them to make the mistake of doing, is reacting too quickly before fully understanding the feedback and how to address the core of the problems. Often an issue may seem obvious and you fix that thing just to realize later that the issue wasn't really what you thought it was at all, and you now have a brand new set of problems. And we have seen that happen in this game. We have seen players complain about certain things, and we've seen the devs fix those things only to end up creating new problems. So that's what they're trying not to do this time. So it says the next section, your feedback. So about that feedback, yep, you've been vocal. They said we're totally listening. For starters, it's great to hear people note that they feel the power sets were well balanced, how varied loadouts and abilities are, and seeing stats and gameplay mechanics actually matter. We still have some work to do, however. With that noted, some of the most constructive feedback is coming from players feeling content is too hard or takes too long, or from those feeling your characters are less powerful. This feedback manifests itself broadly in different ways, and the specifics vary from player to player. And then they list several different things that that people have complained about. So number one, it says veteran players feel it in the time it takes to complete in-game content. I don't agree with that one. So that would not be a complaint for me. In-game content seems just fine. When I go into the tier 8 stuff that I had been doing just before the stat revamp, I actually feel more powerful. It seems to take less time. But that's just me. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. The next one, it says most players feel it when returning to the content that they have out-leveled. Previous content that may have been trivial for a player at a certain level is not trivial anymore, making it more difficult and making it take longer. That one I absolutely agree with. So what we've been doing in the past couple streams is tackling some of the lower end content, and yes, I have noticed things that should not be difficult for me are now difficult for me. Things that should not take as long a time as they do with the kind of groups that I've been in are taking extremely long times, and in fact a lot of the time we're having to just disband and leave because it gets so frustrating. A lot of that, they're going to touch base on why that is here in a minute, and it makes perfect sense, but that complaint would be the one that I'm probably can agree with the most. The next one, it says newer or more mid-game players feel it on leveled group content, noting generally that most things seem hard or too hard now. Okay, I can see that too, because like I said, we've gone into some content that has been, like for example, we went in some stuff with Superboy in the last stream, the Gods and Monsters, or Gods of Monsters raid, and we couldn't get past the first boss, and we were in a group that that really we shouldn't have had a problem with. What's up, Kai? Kai says hi in chat. Miguel Arocha, I agree. The end content is not so difficult, actually. Okay. So the next one, people that are at the content level aren't necessarily doing it, or it's not actually working out for them. Okay. Players not participating in all the new or revitalized progression systems, be it skill points, mods, generator mods, or mainframes, are feeling all of the above a little bit more than everyone else. And that's one that we've touched on the stream. If you're not using the mods now, and you're not using the generator mods, and you're not speccing your skill points the way that they've kind of said that you should, you're probably feeling this pain more than anybody else. And that's the last complaint on here. So here's what they have to say. So it says some of this is good. Gameplay mechanics exist for a reason, which we have talked about many, many times on the stream. They are a key part of the fun and the challenge of the game, and pre-revamp, too many of them could be entirely ignored. Many of you are adjusting to and relearning these mechanics that you never noticed or have forgotten, And that is good long term, and especially in the most advanced in-game content. So, for those people who are pissed that they can't just run through and DPS the shit out of a T8 raid now, or a T7 raid, or a T6 raid, that's what they want. They don't want people to just be able to go in DPS heavy and beat the crap out of a boss just because you've got the gunpowder to do it. You have to be able to do the mechanics. So that's one thing that they're trying to focus on. Says some of this is not good. We don't want newer or mid-game players struggling through challenges, and we want everyone to feel that progress and character strength noticeably increases. So on to our plans. So now we're going to get into, here's what they're planning on doing to fix some of this. Some of these problems. In the short term, it says, so having heard this key feedback, that was what Bodhi thinks of if you heard that crash in the background, he just threw his PlayStation on the floor. He was so pissed. No, he wasn't. He's running around in the Batmobile, grabbing things and throwing it on the floor, because that's what this kid loves to do. I'm not sure I understand, but it keeps him happy. So everything in our house is broken. So, having heard this feedback, here are our immediate plans to address these areas of concern. Number 1, our content design team is refocusing to live playtesting and making content adjustments across the game with a focus on the middle tiers. Number 2, we will adjust NPC stats lower in the earlier parts of the game, making more generous assumptions about how quickly and when players will fully be participating in all avenues of progression. So they're going to bring down the difficulty a little bit on some of these NPCs in the early parts of the game. It says both the above should address concerns from players struggling when on level and from players struggling or taking too long when returning to out-leveled content. Number 3, they will adjust some of the role-less buffs and alerts to better enable 4-player groups of any combination to tackle content and to make the buffs more equal to each other. Damn it! Damn it! They keep giving it to me and taking it back away. Actually, I mean, it'll be okay. I think that they're talking about doing it in more of a balanced way, but I hate DPS heavy groups. I love groups that are, balanced. Controller, healer, tank, DPS. This is just going to make it easier to roll in with 3 DPS and 1 healer. But some people do like to play that way. I'm hoping, and here's my hope, that when they do this eventually, and actually I'm going to start suggesting it, they make the role optional alerts less optional, because right now when you turn that off, you still get into groups with mostly DPS. I want to be able to go into a group and know that I'm going to have the 3 other roles opposite of whatever I am. And number 4, they will upgrade the vault. This is the one that is very interesting to me, Lida. They will upgrade the vault to drop scaling gear. So does that mean that the vault is going to drop gear that it scales to your combat rating now, instead of just worthless style items? That I'm not sure about. We're going to have to either research that or something. Miguel says that's a good idea. I agree. I think that's a good idea too, really, because right now the vaults, I don't even go. I mean, I've got pretty much all the styles that I want. Lida and Bodhi go for me to get me things that I don't want, but I'm sorry. I'm just teasing to get.
You the Superman JLA style that you wanted.
Yeah, I know. The vault is very important, but I became bored with it, and so so it looks like she's going to get her wish a little bit, because it's going to make me want to go to the vault. But I think that it is a good idea, because the vault needs to be more of a purpose to go there besides just getting your 1 mark and a bunch of stuff that you've already gotten and have to delete. I also remember a time when they said that the vault items were going to become tradable, and I do not see that has happened. I don't know what happened with that idea. This was 2-3 years ago. I don't know what happened with that idea, if they decided it wasn't a good one. Yeah, it was. It was it was right before they announced water powers originally. So 1972, I think, was the date. But yeah, I thought that things were supposed to become tradable from the vault, and they never did. Miguel also, I love you, Miguel. Miguel also loves 1111 in alerts. Group me anytime, my friend. I have gotten to the point where I have to go to LFG to get into a group because I always get stuck with 3 DPS, and I'm like, what the hell? Or if I go in as a tank, or if I actually get into a group where it is 1111, we've got other players being like, should we DPS? Should somebody else DPS? No, damn it. It's going to take 10 minutes as opposed to 7 minutes, you know? It's not that big of a difference. But anyway, okay, so in the midterm, here is the what they're talking about doing fairly quickly. Looking a bit further out, oh geez, so that's not very quickly. I really have to look up what midterm means. In the medium term, it says. Looking a little bit further out, your feedback has reminded us it's time to finish updating the whole game's gear and progression systems to modern content standards. We will finally rework the vendor currencies in the earlier parts of the game to match more closely our current end game in an effort to more historically holistically, I also have to learn to read, introduce all players to the new avenues of progression, and alleviate lingering frustrations. So number one thing that they're going to do, they will standardize early and mid-game vendor gear sets so that these sets are the best gear available in their content or tier. Best gear on the vendor. That's been the initiative in the in-game content. It has not been true in earlier tier content. You can still completely blow through all of the vendor gear. With Superboy, I entirely skipped Amazon Fury Part 3 gear. I qualified to start going into the Age of Justice stuff. I'm only getting that gear because I want the style. So, and that's happened, I mean, when I progressed up, because I started, well, obviously we all start all of our tunes in the beginning, but every time I've started a tune in this game for the past couple of years, you can skip tiers entirely and just go through the raids or go through the alerts, go through the duos. Even the solos drop better gear than the vendor gear at lower tiers. And so they're going to fix that. They're going to make it once again so that the best gear will be on the vendor. But keep in mind, guys, maybe it sounds good to you, maybe it sounds bad. What it means is slower progression. What it means is you're not going to go 30, combat rating 30 to 170. Which it's been pretty obvious to me since the stat revamp's gone into effect that there are people out there that have gone basically 0 to 190 or 200 combat rating with very little learning of what's actually happening in the game, because I'm going in with a 186 DPS and out DPSing 200 combat rating tunes, and it's because the 186 DPS has more skill points. So that should never be the case, and that's not anybody's fault outside of the games, because the game made it so easy to focus on CR rather than stats. So that's why they're changing things. Number 2, they will implement unique vendor currencies for tiers 1 through 7 and update gear costs. Oh, sweet mother. I feel like we've been through this once or twice before. So we did this once before. Remember that, guys? When everything had its own currency, every tier had its own currency. You may not remember that. You may notice when you are looking at certain things in the vendor, it talks about different types of marks, or it used to. I think they actually got rid of that. They hid their own mistake. Because it used to be when you came here, there were all kinds of things that don't exist anymore. And it was like there were, I don't even remember now. There were like marks of speed or something. I don't remember that. What ton. There were just all kinds of, basically every level or every tier had their own mark. And then they went to marks of victory. And that was what was used for everything. And that was pretty phenomenal. I liked that a lot. The only thing that it didn't do was it didn't make you focus on high-end content to get your high-end gear. You could just run anything in the game, get your marks of victory, and then go buy in-game tier content, or in-game tier gear, and have never done any of that content whatsoever. So that was what they were trying to get away from. And so that's when they introduced the what was first? You remember? Miguel remembers the marks of Krypton. What was first? We have ancient coins now. There was something else just before that they had gone to for the new stuff, and then they introduced the ancient coins. Now we have war bonds, and so it means that for Amazon Fury Part 3 gear, you have to use the ancient coins. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 actual alerts that you can do, or missions, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so daily outside missions that you can do, and that's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing that gets you that currency. And the very similar thing for war bonds. You have to be doing the new episode in order to get war bonds to buy the new episode's gear. So what they're talking about doing here is now going back to a place where, let's say you want tier 1 gear, you must do 2 tier 1 missions to get that gear. If you're a tier 5 player and you're trying to get a style item that is tier 2, if they do this, you're going to have to be playing tier 2 content to get the marks to purchase that style gear, unless you go to the vendor in the watchtower that takes marks of victory, and then of course it's 70, which is not too shabby. That's how I've gotten some things. So that I don't necessarily like the fact that that's getting ready to happen. So that is implementing unique vendor currencies for tiers 1 through 7 and updating gear cost. Next, number 3, they will add the vendor discount system to tiers 1 through 7 for obtaining additional gear sets or gear on alts in conjunction with the feat unlock system. That I do like. So what that means is if you're playing as a DPS and you go through and you get the style feat because you've gotten all pieces of that particular tier's gear, when you go back to buy the tank version of that, or the healer version of that, or the controller version of that, it's at a discounted price. So you're not spending as much to get it for the role that you're. So, and it could work backwards of that. If you go through and you get it as a controller or a healer or a DPS or a tank, then when you go back to get your DPS gear, it's going to be at a discounted cost. So that's actually pretty cool. I like that. They're talking about on alts. I have not seen that work on alts. So, for example, I have Superboy now. I have gotten the feat for the Fallen God gear with Rock, and when Superboy goes to that vendor, theoretically he should be getting discounts on that gear, but he's not. So I don't know, maybe I'm actually missing a piece. Maybe I haven't gotten that style feat yet. I'm not sure. I might have just stopped when the new content came out because I could do it and said, F that, I'll come back and get it later, because I tend to do that, so I don't know. Miguel says that will help make the game more alt-friendly. I think so too, and I like that notion right there, and I know a lot of people that will. because me personally, my brother, Lida, we've all got alts, and a lot of times our alts are simply 4 styles. I've got 3 alts that it's just because I wanted to play as Superboy, or I wanted to play as Superman, or whoever else, or Wally West, and I want to be able to do the fun content, but I don't want to go through and grind for marks with that tune to get the styles that I want to wear. So that's right now, like I said earlier, Superboy qualified to skip up to the end game content from Amazon Fury Part 3, but I'm still doing Amazon Fury Part 3 with him just because I want the top that Rock's wearing right now. I want the Fallen God outfit so I can make a new 52 Superboy that's better than the one that I've already made, or that was made for me by my brother. So I think that'll be good. That'll be a good one. Let's see, where were we here? We already did 3. We're on 4. They will drop some older gear mods directly in content to make baseline modding more accessible. That's kind of cool too, because right now, like I said earlier, last time we were playing, I've been saying that a lot this stream. Like I said the last stream, apparently I say a lot of shit in streams, but stuff drops pretty quickly, especially in the higher tier stuff now. You go through one day, you get everything modded out. The very next time you go into a mission, some unattuned gear drops. Yeah, it's only 1 CR better than what you've already got, but it's better, so you put it on. Now all of a sudden you don't have that mod, and you need it back. So then you got 2 options. You used to have 2 options. You either go and slap one of those prefab mods in it just for the shits and giggles of it, or you go and you make it. Now, here's the downside of them putting it in content. So farming for exobits had become one hell of a trade on the in-game marketplace. I'm sure some of you guys remember a couple of years ago when stacks of mods were going for, $800,000-$900,000, and that's how people were making their money. You could go out and we did it. We'd go out, we'd farm all day, go to the vendor at night, sell everything we got, and just do that every day. Heck, farming became at some point more important than playing the game because we were making enough money to buy things we wanted off the marketplace. And I would tell people, they'd be like, well, I'm trying to get this or that. Go out and farm exos. It was the easy thing to do. My brother has a couple of inventories full of exobytes waiting for when the market shifts again, because what happened was when they introduced certain things to the game, people stopped modding. When the prefab mods came out, people stopped farming exos, stopped buying. It's only $200,000-$300,000 now for a stack of what used to cost close to $1 million. And so it went to collections. So now people farm collections and sell collections. Even that has dropped in price because the collections drop so much anymore. You don't necessarily need to go and buy them. And so, he's sitting on several inventories full of mods just waiting for this to shift back and people to start modding again, which would have actually been this content, because now mods are very important to what we do again. Well, now mods are going to start dropping in the game and content. So, yep, number 5, Lida was out of the room. They will add they will drop some older gear mods directly in content to make baseline modding more accessible. So they won't be the new stuff, but they're actually going to start dropping some mods into the game. So that can be, I can see that as a good thing. I can see that as a bad thing for the market a little bit. So I don't know. The next, number 5, they're going to add a universal mod removal kit, both for marks and in the marketplace, that will make transferring mods much easier. So I guess bye-bye total recovery kits. That's not too bad, because and the mod removal kits aren't what everybody kind of thinks. Is it takes the mod out that you've got, and you've still just got that mod. So it's good for when you drop when new tier gear, or when new gear, unattuned gears dropping rapidly, and you just want to transfer a mod. It's not good for when you want your exobytes or exobits back so that you can make new and better mods. So that's cool. I can deal with that. Actually, that's pretty helpful. So okay, so that is all for the midterm, medium term. Now we're moving on to in the long term. And it is in this section, folks, where people started to lose their minds. And I will...
Good or bad?
Bad. And so I'm going to address these concerns and talk about it when we get to it. You'll probably know when we get to it. It says, we've made stats matter, and therefore skill points are in demand. Arguably, if you've not been chasing those points, you might not know the best way to go about earning more. Additionally, and I would say if you don't, you definitely should learn. That should be your focus. Stop worrying about CR. Stop worrying about progressing to get to end-game content fast. Stop, slow down, and focus on your skill points. Focus on getting feats. I wish someone would have told me that when I first started playing the game. It took us a year before we got in enough, enthralled enough in the community that someone looked at us and said, dude, you got to get skill points because you suck. And it was pretty much that blunt. But, I really wish I would have known from day one to chase feats and get skill points. Once we hit level 30, we had no idea that that's what was happening, that those feats were then still going to get us skill points. And so, you guys, if you're starting the game right now, or if you're very early out in the game, you have a huge heads up on what we did, because people in my, I'm going to call it generation, there was not a lot of direction. It was, you learned from other players, you learned from YouTubers. They didn't have all of this communication that goes on right now between the devs and the players. The biggest communication we got between the devs and the players, of course, was just on the forums, and then when Friday Night Legends starts, which I wish they would bring back. I'm sorry. I loved that show. I understand Spittle is doing other things now. Meps and SJ could definitely do it. I totally miss Friday Night Legends. That was a part of our life. I mean, we used to grab a pizza, sit around, play the game, and listen to Friday Night Legends, or watch it on the computer every Friday night. That was a huge part of our lives, and I miss it, really miss it. I don't care if it's, because we didn't care about PvP. For us, it was just about the show. And so even if it's not PvP, even if it's just what they did for a little while, going in with some players and doing PvE, doing Legends, whatever, please bring back Friday Night Legends. Okay, so there. Here we're getting back into it. Okay, it says, additionally, those that have a high combat rating but few skill points may feel like they are less powerful now, which is exacerbated by content also being more challenging. Did you see how I got that word right, Lida? Thank you. We assumed, and many of you assumed, that content felt harder after the revamp because players didn't have the skill points they needed. After careful review, this really isn't the case, according to DCUO. According to me, I think that's the case in a lot of cases. I think that's 95% of the cases. But, we'll see. Here's what they think anyway. The core of the issue is the content, and that's why it comes first in the plan. In parentheses, it says, this is precisely what I meant by waiting to understand the core before addressing an issue. However, navigating our feat system is a feat in and of itself. It is difficult at best to decipher what feats mean, or where to go and what to do to complete them. That is true. They are achievements and fit in that perspective, but it can become frustrating when achieving those feats is part of your progression. It can, and they came a long way when they went through the feat section of your inventory and put it in order of episode. That worked quite well, in my opinion. I think it's still good. As you skip things, though, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Like before you go into a mission, you might want to go there and brush up on what feats you don't have, so you can maybe try to get them. But I think they did a really good job at helping there. It says, Miguel says, the best episode was when they invited Odyssey to try the hardest raid of the game. It was. I loved that. That was super fun. I really, really enjoyed that. So yeah, I agree, buddy. So basically, it says, in the long term, we'll be exploring ways to solve this problem. And this is where people lost their mind. Talking about feats and talking about skill points. It says in the long term, we will be exploring ways to solve this problem, both in improving the clarity of feats and in eventually providing other avenues to gain skill points. More on that later, it says in all caps. Cue the bomb sirens. This is where everyone's brains popped. Their heads started spinning around in circles and they started vomiting out green things because some people read that and they heard, we're going to make skill points purchasable. And that is where they went. That is where their mind went. I honestly, that's not what I would have thought after just reading that, but you should see the comments after this was posted, both on Facebook and on Twitter. Every comment after that was, you're making the skill points purchasable. Please say you're not making skill points purchasable. I'm going to leave the game if you're making skill points purchasable. So, for those of you who were freaking the hell out, DCUO, and I have this, I retweeted it on Twitter. You can check our Twitter feed at Var_Nation. I liked it and retweeted it. DC Universe Online, the official account, responded to the first comment on Twitter and said, let me go find it, and I quote, shit. Well, I'll quote it here in a second. They said, they were talking about other in-game avenues, not making them available to purchase on the marketplace, and they said it that specific. I'll read it here in a second once I finish, because I actually went to this link through Twitter, so if I close this out, I'm going to not be able to read the rest of it until I do some searching around. Yeah, so lastly it says, for now, let me sign off by saying again that we appreciate your participation and all of your patience as we work to make DCUO the best it can be. And that is, I believe this is Leah Bowers. Is that Leah? Leah or Lee? Lee? I don't know. So it's either,
That's how my mom spells her middle name, and it's Lee.
Is it?
I
don't know. So anyway, that is the lead producer of DC Universe Online. And then it says, and here's some big news. P.S. Oh, also, we totally hear you about how tedious it can be to respend skill points once at a time. So coming soon, there will be a quantity selector when you're spending your skill points. So when you say I want might, you then will say how much might. 25 points, hit X, and it puts 25 into might. You don't sit there and hit X twice, because you have to hit it and then accept it 25 times. So you've now done it 50 times and your thumb's sore and you're like, shit, now I can't even play the game because I have arthritis.
Well, be happy that you got that many to spend.
Well, I am happy that I got that many to spend, but still. So that's a big plus. And they put a little GIF of it here. Showing, and somebody apparently has 170 something to put into one thing. Whoever that is totally boss. So that is, in its entirety, I read it word for word, the producer's letter, state of the stat revamp that was put on the forum today in the announcement section. I will go back and add a link in the description of this video once it's up on YouTube. Again, thank you to whoever it was that kind of got on to me about not putting links in my descriptions, and I started doing it, and it has definitely helped, both in subs and in views. I don't know if the two things go hand in hand, but thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Even though you were kind of a dick about it. I'm joking. So, hey, sometimes things have to be said direct. Okay, so let's go, and let me find, okay, so here it is. And I'll just, I don't know if I should do this because I'm not trying to start trouble, but Chuck Hosner at Hosner7, and his reply to the tweet was actually very responsible. He says, please directly say you're not going to let peeps buy skill points. It will destroy the game. Everyone is worrying about this after reading. DCUO responded, and most of the time it's MEPS on the DCUO Twitter feed. I don't know if you know that or not. I'm sure they take turns, but most of the time it's MEPS. And he says, we're talking about in-game avenues to skill points, not marketplace. And then Chuck Hosner said thank you. But that did not stop 150 other people from asking the same question. And they keep on saying, over and over again, please don't make them purchasable. And then you've got people complaining that the game is already pay to play and, you know, whatever, which you can have your own opinion on that. I don't think it is. I would pay to play the game anyway, so that's where I come from on that whole thing. When people complain that the game is pay to play, I'm like, yeah, well, what isn't? Name one thing in life that is good that you don't pay for in one way or another. Nothing is free. The best things in life are not free. Wait, that's the opposite, isn't it? I don't know. But anyway, so that is it. That's everything, guys. And, you know, feel free to ask me questions in the chat. Once the video goes up on YouTube, feel free to ask questions in the comments section. I don't think I'm going to do a kind of standalone video on this, considering that we've just talked for 41 minutes and 30 seconds about it. I think we've probably covered most everything that we can. And but, you know, any kind of new information that comes, we will definitely get it out there and let you guys know. Stay tuned, like I said. I'm not going to end the stream right now. I'm going to go ahead and play some stuff here for the next 20 minutes. But do pay attention to the channel, because actually tomorrow morning I'm going to have up the specific changes in Game Update 73 to fire and gadgets. So if you are playing those power sets and you haven't really investigated what stuff was changed in the power, there will be some good information for you there. If you're thinking about switching an alt, or if you're thinking about using that free respec token to go over there and jump into fire or gadgets, this will give you some little bit more detailed information about what you're looking at. I did hear, I saw on the forums, some people are saying that gadgets is working really, really well now. I don't know, because I haven't played it. I'm going to try to. I have one gadgets tune, and so I'm going to eventually go ahead and learn some stuff as far as that's concerned. But I'm telling you, earlier today, I have a tune Dax Var, who is a hard light controller. He's only a combat rating 80 something. So today I took him and we went through Gates of Tartarus. It was really fun. I had a hell of a fun time trolling with him. I did not used to like hard light controlling as much, but it was very pleasurable. So I can tell you that at least as far as that is concerned, hard light's doing pretty good. Yesterday my brother and I went through some T8 alerts. He has a hard light DPS, did very, very well. In fact, he was, especially for the combat rating that he is, not a real super high combat rating. I think he's a 185. He did very, very well in the alerts. And so I think hard light has definitely gotten the update that it has needed. I'm going to learn some DPS stuff with that here over the next week or so, maybe Friday, and we'll see what we can do. I just don't have any DPS gear on that tune is my problem. I would like to go through and learn a loadout and rotation and show off some of the changes to hard light. I just don't have any DPS gear for that tune. So I'll show you guys, I'll troll with them and show you what that looks like. Other news, everyone should be super happy for me. I finally got the boots that I wanted for my Superboy tune. I'm wearing them right now with Rock. They are Gadgeteer. It took me forever to figure out what they were because I wasn't using the right colors. Because these boots look entirely different when you add color to them. But so yeah, Superboy's rocking a cool outfit. I'll show that off probably in the next stream. Right now, I'm gonna go out to the just the solo stuff for the T8. Let's just go to Time Torn Area 51. Earth is still rocking. I am still quite literally. I'm still really loving Earth, and I'm still playing it now with 3 tunes. I don't have any intention of changing this power unless they nerf it in some way, which I hope doesn't happen, because this is the most fun I've had with Earth since I started playing the power set. And it's actually as fun as Rage was for me
I
in
know
the
a bunch
beginning.
of our troops from both back in my heyday and even more from right now.
And
They're all
so,
swell,
yeah, I'm not
damn
gonna.
good
I don't
fighters,
think I'm
but
gonna
they are
mess with it.
outgunned by the savage
Because pretty
soldiers
much
who
every
need your
power
help.
set now, you know, they're saying to use the robot sidekick also, and so you know, I either have Crystal or I use the robot sidekick. But look at that! Look at the distance. Like, you do not have to be right up on the guy for this to work anymore. And I'm loving it. Freaking loving it. But all in all, you know, going back to the letter, all in all, I think they're helping more than they're hurting. I don't think it's going to be a disaster. I know there are a lot of people out there right now that are very unsatisfied with the way the stats revamp has gone. I definitely feel for you guys. I've been in your shoes when they changed it to begin with, and I think there's some middle ground here that they will find, and they will make, as they always do, they will kind of make all parties happy except PvPers, because the PvPers hate this game now. I don't know what they've got to do to fix PvP for those folks. In all honesty, I really hope you guys get your game back too, because it's not fun when a certain group is unsatisfied as they are. I know that we had a huge PvP community in this game. I was not a part of it, and I'm not upset that I wasn't a part of it. It's not my thing, but it was fun watching those guys, you know, especially when they did Friday Night Legends. You know, they were fierce competitors and friends. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of horseplay on Twitter regarding who was better and who was this and who was that. And there was a lot of that going on YouTube. And I think it brought a certain life to the game. Now, I don't want that to become the entire community, but you know, now we have a really strong, in my opinion, we have a really strong PvE community, and we have a really strong kind of style or cosplay community, if you want to say that. And so I really hope that they get PvP sorted out to where that community can come back too, because those guys, you know, they had been here since the start of the game. They had attributed to a lot of the income of DCUO, if you want to say that. And so I think they deserve to have fun in the game moving forward just as much as the rest of us do. So, you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure what the problems are over there. I don't know what has caused all the issue, but I hope that there can be some level ground at some point. That said, though, it looks as though there has been, because a lot of the people that I had seen that just utterly hated the game when some changes had gotten made to PvP seemed to be going strong again, or at least seemed to be enjoying themselves a little bit more, making some YouTube videos and getting out there with some positive feedback and positive comments. So, and these are people that I had originally followed, you know, when I started playing the game, just because at that point, really, it was kind of a PvP dominant game, in a sense. Kid Devil would like to see the devs add redeemable armories. I would like to see that too, actually. Right now, the only way you get an armory, or do you get an armory? One, when you get your base, and then you must purchase the rest of your armories. You must either purchase them with loyalty points, which you can only then use that, or actually once you purchase it with loyalty points, you can, how does that work? I don't want to say it backwards. I think that is tradable then to your alts, but if you purchase it on the marketplace, it is not, and it only goes to that one character. I'm not sure, but as it stands right now, I have like, because you can only have 4 per base, I have the max number that I can have with Rock, and I only use 4 of them because I just got where he levels up the most. It just got to be kind of a pain in the butt to go back and keep updating all of them. Especially when I would change powers, which was happening kind of frequently. And then my tunes like Superman, who I actually need some more with, he has 1 because that's all I'm willing to spend money for. So yeah, I would like to see somehow some way to get armories in game that didn't necessarily involve currency, like real currency. It can involve in-game currency, that's fine with me, or marks or something like that. But yeah, I don't want to see it. I'd rather not have to spend real money for it. Salon J says add me on PS4. Is your PS4 name Salon J? I don't know. Oh, I'm supposed to be getting ambushers. Ambushers. I'm going completely the wrong direction.
You will regret
Shaka. No shaka. Yes, I will add you. Only if I can call you Shaka.
See you out further on the field.
So we finally caught up with a couple of the episodes of Game of Thrones. Holy shit. We're doing some more of that after the stream. Phenomenal. I will not spoil it for anyone, but if you're not caught up, you should definitely watch it. Kid Devil agreed. I think this game has more potential than it should be, and the stats revamp seems like a fresh start to beta, advanced, moderate, and I'm guessing he's going to add another comment there. So I did see some people on the, and I'm going to point out, I'm not going to point out any one individual, but I did see some people on some of the comments on the Facebook thing asking about updating graphics and making things look more like Injustice. I would say a staunch no to that. I love the way this game looks. I definitely don't want to see... Now adding styles that might be more like that, if people want to use them, that's cool, but I don't like the way that those kind of games look necessarily. I mean, they look cool, and they are what they are, but one of the things I like about DCUO is it is more pre-New 52 in its look, so I don't need to see Superman wearing armor and whatnot in the game. I like him looking the way he does. The only thing that'll ever make me leave this game is if they take the trunks off Superman, then I'm gone. No, I'm joking. I would still stay, but I would be pissed because my Superman wears trunks, red ones. I don't like this no pants Superman that we have in the comics now. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't know.
I hear you made
just
quick
me.
work out of those savage soldiers.
I'm an old-fashioned Superman guy.
The technology at our disposal may seem like science fiction, but you can bet the farm that it's science fact. I just need your help retrieving it.
Hey, my buddy Vanguard Superman says, "Hey, how's it going?" It's going good, man. I'm assuming he's not watching the stream, so I will comment. Good. Man. Streaming. Aha. And then maybe he'll say hi to you guys. He was our guest on the stream not long ago. We went and checked out his base. It was a very fun stream. Please go and take a look at it if you have not seen it already. I think it was a couple days ago. I think the title was Pimpin' That Base with Vanguard Superman. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing the traps now? I like this one. I like all these. So, yeah, I gotta get back up on doing, I've been focusing mainly on my alts. I've got to get back up on completing this gear for Rock because we do have new content coming out in September. So that is next month. We have Water Powers coming out the 30th of this month. You've got new member gifts. I guess I could show that off before we get off here. We got about 5 minutes or so before I've got to go. So we got two. I'm just gonna leave this place. Let's go to the penthouse. I haven't been there for a while. Kid Devil says, in the long run, they should do something to update the league system and UI to be something, TBH, like more league amenities. I agree with that 100%. We were supposed to get those quite some time ago. You know, when they came out with league halls, they said that we were going to have the ability to fix our gear, to sell things not on the broker, but just, you know, what have you. Vanguard says, awesome. Any comments of interest come up about the Fortress streaming? Yeah, Kid Devil. When they first came out, and this is, I think I remember it anyway. When they first came out with league halls, the first thing I did was go, because they had told us that we were going to be able to have all the amenities there. And so I went to the broker, not knowing at the time that it wasn't going to work, and I purchased with money each one of these type of amenities for my league, thinking that I would be able to donate them. And so I went, because I wasn't the leader at the time, so I was all excited. I went, I spent, God, I don't know how much it was to get all of them. They didn't have packs back then, so you couldn't just get an amenity base pack or whatever. You had to buy them each individually. So I went and spent real money to get all the amenities. Went and tried to donate them to our base. You couldn't donate them. And so now I have doubles of everything. When I go to, like, when you go to place an item, if I go to select a place where you can put amenities, I have doubles. One says just the name of it, the next one has purchased in parentheses, but I can still only put out the same number, so I just have them for no reason. And when I did that, I was like, well, what the hell? And our league leader went, and he was able to get you get the one stock that come in the league hall. You can do the modding stations or what have you. You can do the mail. They've got the mail. They've got the donation box. They've got the places where you can, the banks, the league banks, and all that good stuff. And I remember complaining about not being able to use amenities, and I could have swore that it was like on one of those streams or on one of those Friday Night Legends where they would talk about the new stuff in the game before they actually dove into the playing. And they had mentioned that at some point their goal was to make all the amenities usable in league halls, because it would make sense. I mean, and rather than everybody go to their individual base after each mission, if I want to heal, I can't stand in my league hall and just with my league mates and just go to mission after mission after mission. I have to come back to my own base so that I can come here and fix my gear or repair. and then queue up again. And it's a pain in the butt. It'd be awesome if, you know, the league halls were meant to bring leagues together and to give us all a place to hang out. It'd be awesome if we could do everything that we needed to do from right there and we didn't have to go somewhere else to do it. So I really hope that they do that at some point and make it a little bit better. Magus, what's up, buddy? He says, yeah, I'm still working on alts myself. Yeah, I got kind of like super alt excited between the last two drops of content. And I guess it was because my alts, I got them up to a point where they were starting to do higher tier content and it became fun to play with them again. Because for me, taking an alt into like Fortress of Solitude and struggling is not fun. But now that they're up doing, you know, Amazon Fury 3 and stuff like that, I'm having a good time with them. So I've really lost focus on getting the new gear, and I've just really been paying attention to alts. But anyway, let's do this real quick because I'm getting the evil eye. I've got to quickly get off of here. I'm gonna go and show you guys real quick the gifts this week. I did a video on it, so definitely if you can, go check out that video on Var Nation talking about the week 3 gifts for Countdown to Water. But where Scuba is the one I like to put on. Everything seems to look good on Scuba. I love that top. But I have to say my ABCs as I go through. Because I'm an idiot. Okay, so we got this week, everyone playing this game, so everyone watching this stream should have gotten this, the Aquaman emblem. You should have this waiting for you when you go to the game marketplace, go to redeem claim, and that should be sitting there waiting for you. And you can get that just the style. It's like any other emblem. You can change the colors, make it look how you want. I just happen to have it those colors because that's what I was wearing. And then, if you are a member, because members get more, you should have the enhanced Aquaman emblem also waiting for you. And yeah, when you look at it right now, you don't know like what the hell is different other than it's slightly brighter colored. It's really brightly colored. It basically glows. And so, Sub-Zeroid Rapid. Oh yeah, and Solange, I will call you Shaka. Shaka! So yeah, so that should be waiting for you if you remember. Stay tuned to Var Nation. Like I said, tomorrow I will have the video up for you guys to show you what is new with the power sets of Fire and Gadgets based on Game Update 73. We will not be streaming on Thursday, guys. I'm sorry. And it would normally be a stream day. Thursday is Bodhi's first birthday. We've got family coming over. I may end up playing, but I doubt it. I think we're going to just try to focus on family that day. Lida's shaking her head at me, saying no, I'm not going to get to play that day. Not unless Bodhi wants to. So I have a sneaking suspicion that Bodhi's going to want to play because I'm going to start talking to him about it right now. So I will not be streaming Thursday. We will be streaming Friday. So Friday, technically the last day of my vacation. Today was just the most awesome day ever. All day long. We woke up this morning at like 7:30. We played DCUO all day. That's all we've done today. We ate, got donuts this morning. We're getting ready to get dinner and play DCUO for the rest of the night. Tomorrow, though, we got to get the house ready for family to come over for Bodhi's birthday, so I won't get to play much tomorrow at all. Thursday, we will not be streaming. Friday is the next day that we will be streaming. I will be playing DCUO all day Friday. I'll be streaming all day Friday. Whoa. Someone, no. No thanks, dude. I don't even know what FFS means, but yeah, don't bring that shit in here. I don't need... No. Yeah, so we'll be back on Friday streaming about the same time. We'll see you guys then. Appreciate every one of our followers. Thanks to everybody in chat. Thanks to Megas. for being in the chat with us. Thanks to Kid Devil. Thanks to Shaka. Oh, no problem, Jacinto. I mean, it's okay. I assumed you were that you were just trolling me or something. So, yeah, we try to keep the chat family friendly if we can, because we've got League members whose kids are watching. Even though I curse every once in a while. Sorry. But, Jacinto says, do you know when DCO will take back BVS emblems? I don't know. I didn't know they took them to begin with. We all have them, but it depends on when you played the game if you got them or not. And that's one thing I'm not sure of. Can you get those on the marketplace now? I want to say that Shadow told me no. I'm not going to quote him on that because he knows things that I don't, and I don't want to misquote him. So, but yeah, I'm not real sure about that, buddy. You got to respect because there's probably ladies and little children watching. You never know, so respect. Very good, Zeroid Rapid. That is truth. But anyway, got to go, guys. And please give this a share and a like once it's up on YouTube, which will be in about an hour. You can follow us on Twitter at Var_Nation. Please follow our YouTube channel or subscribe to it, Var Nation. Much respect for everyone who does, and thank you very much for that. You can also help support the channel, help us grow, both the tools that we use and the frequency that we stream, by visiting our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/VarNation. For as little as $1 a month, you can help the nation grow. And if you do that, we're going to give you huge hugs. I don't know. There has to be some kind of reward. Thanks again, guys. We appreciate it. And for Light and Bodhi, this is Rock Var saying play on.